Okay, aloha and good afternoon. Welcome to Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly show where we talk story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and staff to find out how they're working to support the needs of Maui's community. We are sponsored by Pacific Source, Maui's best source for building materials with a cabinet and appliance showroom open to the public in the Waikapu Bayshard. I'm Susie Tiemann, Interim Executive Director of Lokahi Pacific and President of the Maui Nonprofit Directors. I'm happy to introduce my co-host for today's show. Hey, Sherry Dodson
Hey,
of
Susie.
Habitat for Humanity Maui.
I missed the jazzy music when we started, Gary. I like the jazzy stuff. That one was putting me to sleep.
Yes, change of pace.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Once in a while, it got you kind of off center here, so
Okay, I guess
let's-
it did that.
Let's see how you do.
Well, hopefully better than that. During this hour, we're going to be sharing stories and experiences of how nonprofit community leaders and their agencies work to benefit our beautiful island home, with stories of how their agencies are changing lives, changing communities, and creating miracles of hope. And today, we have Kaimana from Hawaiian Canoe Club. And
Yes.
she just told us they have 375 active members this year.
Active racing members.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's a
It's
bunch
like
of
herding
kids.
cats.
So that means for like each category, you've got several teams.
We have, for example, in the 12 and under boys division, which only has 6 kids racing at a time, and we can't make substitutions like on soccer teams. Well, we have about 12 to 13 kids. So keeping them all in line, keeping them active, keeping them hungry to want to be in the boat is always the challenge. And then the same with the adults. If you're putting out that time 3 nights a week, you want to be able to race. So it really is all about trying to keep everyone happy.
Wow. I had asked her earlier before we went on the air that I said I drove by last night. It must have been like, 10 to 6, something like that. And the parking, it looked like they were having a fundraiser. The parking lot was full, and I thought they were going to start going out over on the street and over to the old Maui, what was
The Kahului Shopping
Kahului
Center.
Shopping Center, yeah.
Well, with 375 active members, that's a lot of cars and a lot of people.
It's a lot. No, it was just practice.
Just practice.
And Tuesday isn't even a busy night.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a
Pardon the stutter.
neighbor. Nakai Walu Canoe Club is next door to us as well. And so it's both Hawaiian and Nakai. We share Ho'oloha Park.
Oh.
So some of the cars you saw were members of Nakai Walu, and we've been longtime members or neighbors with
Okay.
them.
So are they as old a club as you guys?
They
or-
were founded in 1972. I actually started paddling at Nakai Walu and transferred over to Hawaiian when I was 16, but they're about 25 years younger. There was a group of canoe clubs that were kind of founded in the 60s, and then in the mid 70s there was an evolution and a few more clubs were founded. So Nakai was part of that, along with Kahana, Napili, Lahaina Canoe Club. A bunch of those were all
And
founded.
Kihei was one
And
of
Kihei was
yeah.
founded, I think, in 74 or so. Yeah.
I remember that.
This is our great historian over
I
here.
know.
You wouldn't.
Anything you want to know about paddling?
Yeah. I mean, you'd think she was 50-some years old with all the knowledge she has.
She grew up in it, though.
I grew up in
Right.
it. My dad paddled for Nakai since the early 80s. Uncle Boogie, who's the longtime Nakai Walu coach, is my godfather.
Lu'uaia.
Yeah, the Lu'uais were my mentors for years, and now I try to be his boss, but it doesn't really work.
Interesting dynamic there
Yeah.
now.
It's very much, I always say canoe clubs are like families. We all basically do the same thing, but we all do it very differently. We do it maybe, the basics of paddling, go out, get a canoe, 6 people going in the same place, but the way that we get into the canoes, maybe the way we get our canoes, maybe our terminology might be a little bit different. And the nice thing for the people of Maui is that they get to kind of shop around and figure out which canoe club fits them the best.
Because there's clubs that don't race, that they just are strictly recreational, right?
Correct. Maui Canoe Club in South Kihei is that way. And then within the larger canoe clubs, there's rec programs. So, we have 375 active racing members. We have another 100 that don't compete at all, and they just go out for fun. And that's always a great way to get started. Kihei Canoe Club has a fabulous rec paddling program. They're a big part of that club's foundation. And same with the clubs on the west side. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
I try to read on Sunday morning in the paper. I try to look and see who won the different races the day before, right? And I'm always confused by the categories, like the
The
14,
the
15. Are those ages, or is there?
12 and under, 13 and under, 14, 15, 16, 18. So those are all the kids divisions, and there's boys and there's girls, and then there's some mix, which is 3 and 3. And then you get into the novice program, and there's novice B, which are your first year, most enthusiastic, selling all their tickets for the fundraisers, coming to every practice, buying all the jerseys. They're the great, and they're kind of like the Energizer bunnies of the club. They keep things fresh. You know, for those of us who've been in a while, maybe get a little pessimistic. They always remind us of the beauty of paddling. And then there's the open division, and that's when you'll see freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. And those are people 19 to 39 who have experience in paddling, and it's all about strategy to where you put the different crews. Maybe your best crew is freshman, because once you raise as junior, you can't go down to freshman. So there's all this jockeying. So the first regatta is always really exciting. You know, where's Kihei going to put their best crew of women? Where's Wailea going to put their best crew of men? And so, you know, you hold your cards close in the first regatta. You put it all out on the table and kind of see.
But for those people over 49?
And then, well, we have a great master's program.
That's
Masters 40, Masters 50, 55, 60, and this year, brand new Masters 65.
Wow.
So you have to be 65 and older?
65 and older.
And
for
everybody
that.
in the boat has to be 65?
Yes.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes. And in that age, you get a wide variety of experience. It's almost like going back to the novice, because novice, you might have someone who's over 40 but has never paddled before. Same with 65. You might have someone who's paddled their whole life that's at 65, but you might also have someone who's brand new. So the challenge for our coaches is to try to get everyone on the same page. If you paddle at Hawaiian Canoe Club, we're a competitive club. We're very upfront about that. Our goal is to win and to be successful. So if that's aligned with your personal goals, then we always, we welcome you down there.
And how many coaches does it take for 375 active?
We have 12 coaches, and all of our coaches are volunteer. So they practice 3 nights a week, and they're there all day Saturday, and then they also have a weekly coaches meeting during the summer. So in a lot of instances, and hopefully none of my board members are listening, but they're doing a lot, as much as a board member would, and they're really the face between our members and administration, if you will. People listen to them, they look up to them. When I need to make announcements or things like that, people always look to the coaches to do that. And the coaches have to come together and share their strategies or their challenges or things like that. And that's what they do at the weekly meetings.
Well, that's a real commitment.
It is.
So the season now is now in full swing.
Yep.
And it runs, when did it start?
It
June?
started, the first preseason regatta was in May out in Hana, which is always a really fun race. It's an overnight race. It's a 2-day race. And then the first regatta was in June. The championships are this Saturday, hosted by Kihei Canoe Club at Kalaipohaku.
Oh, that means it's going to be busy down by my house.
Yeah.
Very busy down there in South Kihei. And then the state championships are August 4th on Oahu.
So you have county champions who move forward to the state champions.
Correct.
And I know there's a whole organization to that with a different point system, or
Yeah.
you get so many points, you're in one bracket versus the
Correct.
other.
Correct. And the Maui clubs traditionally have done very well. There's 4 different divisions, all the way from single A. Hawaiian Canoe Club, we're in the 4A division. I remember one year in Hilo, we won, back then it was triple A. Laiula won the double A, and I think Napili won the single A. And it was all Maui clubs winning their
Wow.
respective divisions. So paddling on Maui we're among the best.
Oh, we have the best waters here.
Oh, we do. Yes. We also have the best people. That's
And the
what-
best
Right.
clubs.
And the best
Yeah,
clubs.
the best coaches and the best paddlers.
Yeah.
Now, when you guys go to states, you obviously don't take your canoes, right?
We do. We ship our 2 koa canoes. I
Oh,
actually
really?
made reservations for them to go today.
And they put them on a plate?
We put them on the barge.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
I was thinking, that's a long canoe.
Not every canoe at States. The unique thing about States is that you have to race in a koa canoe, and it's really neat. If you've never been in a koa canoe, it is truly one of those cultural and just unique experiences of paddling in something that at one point was alive, in the traditions of our ancestors. Hawaiian Canoe Club, we're very lucky to have 2 koa canoes, and we ship both of them over, along with our tent poles and other things that we can kind of stowaway on the barge.
That's cool.
Yeah, and we have friends over on Oahu that take care of the boat, and they get weighed. And, our tribe will start heading over on the Thursday before to set up the tent. And, we have to feed everyone again over there and just have fun. And it's a really neat race because everyone's on their feet the whole day, mainly because you don't want to ever sit down in Ka'ehi Lagoon because it's quite gross.
Oh, no. That's where it is.
It's down there at Ka'ehi, which is nice because it's right near the airport, but it's not, it's no Waikiki Beach, it's no Hanako. It's
My
not
dad
even,
used to have a boat there, and it
Yeah.
was like he did not want to drop anything in that water.
Yeah,
Right.
no. That's when you climb through the canoe and you don't, swim. No one's swimming in Ka'ehi Lagoon.
No, you don't want to fall out of. You don't want to huli.
No, but we have all of our paddlers, all of our coaches. We have a network of support all throughout Maui. People supporting us through our fundraisers, like the big one that we have this Sunday at the dunes at Maui Lani. We have some corporate sponsors that have bought tables for us, or just people donating silent auction items. And our kids are busy performing or practicing their performance. George Kahumoku is going to be playing with us. We're really, really excited. It's the first time we brought someone outside to play with our kids. And honestly, we were a little bit worried how that might work. We have this very Uncle Grammy Award winner, but George Kahumoku is one of the nicest men I've ever met and so down to earth. And he's just working great with our kids, and he loves kids. So it's been a really good partnership for us.
So this fundraiser is. Tell me more about when, where, how they can.
It's this Sunday. It starts at 5:00. Our kids are performing. George is performing. There's also a silent auction. Tickets are only $40, which includes a buffet dinner done by Cafe Ole down at the dunes, and the dinner show with a cash bar. It's usually a great evening. Lots of fit paddlers down there. It's an election year, so we got some county council members coming down, and you can have an ear with them if you like, and just meet some of our coaches, and it's a really fun, laid back evening.
Are tickets available?
Yep, tickets are available at our website, or you can call my office 893-2124. Best deal in town, only $40. So.
Yeah, and these fundraisers are so important if you're taking all these young kids to experience Oahu and experience a state tournament.
And this program specifically goes to support our Kamali'i youth program. And our kids actually just came back from their last off-island excursion to Molokai, and they're all exhausted right now. They paddled. It took them over 4 hours to paddle across from Molokai to Maui because it was so rough.
That's tough for adults to do.
I know. And part of it is learning by, this experiential learning. So you need to be properly hydrated, and you need to wear the proper clothing, and you need to take breaks when you're told, or you need to not look at the big wave when the coach tells you not to look at the big wave. And so there were some challenges, but everyone made it safely. And it's funny, they can be in this moment of sheer terror, and then when they get to the beach, it's as if it was the greatest adventure of their life.
No, that was fun.
That was so fun. I want to do it again. I can't wait till next year.
Oh, to be young again. Unfortunately, we remember how scared we were.
Yeah.
Kids don't remember.
Kids don't remember.
It comes back to you years later, yes.
Moments later.
The Aha Aina program, or the Aha Aina fundraiser, directly benefits that. We subsidize it so it's affordable and accessible to all kids on Maui, and that's one of the strengths of the program, getting kids from all different backgrounds to be together for this summer. And
So now when they paddle to Molokai, they stay overnight?
they camp for 3 nights.
3 nights.
Yeah, we they've been staying at Puko'o, which is a nice place on East Molokai. So on Sunday, they paddled over there. They landed, they had lunch, then they walked 3 miles to a fish pond and helped build. I think they got about 30 feet of a fish pond wall built.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And how many kids is this?
80 kids.
Wow.
80 kids, 10 staff. Yeah. So they're
And-
pretty amazing.
Yes.
So they were good and tired that night.
They were, that night, and then the next morning they got up. We got buses or little vans to take them out to Halava Valley, which is a really neat place. I don't know, if you've ever been there. And they hiked
beautiful.
all the way up to, I think, the 4th or 5th pond area. They worked in. They cleared 3 lo'is, and then they had their annual mud fight, a mud bowl. And, it's always funny. They pick sides, and everyone just ends up covered in mud, and then goes to the fresh water and wash off, and then they hike back down. So that's a full day of activity.
So you keep them as busy as you can so they pass out at night, right?
Yeah. And when we go to Kaho'olawe, they're not even allowed to sleep in tents. They have to sleep outside. Now, East Molokai a little bit more wet, so they get to sleep in tents. But it's Puko'o is beautiful. It's a really nice area of Molokai, and we feel very lucky that the family on Molokai welcomes all of our kids there every year.
Well, that's terrific. You know, speaking of pretty things, Pacific Source has beautiful things in their showroom.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
Welcome back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly show where we talk story with Maui's nonprofit executive directors and their staff. Today we're talking with Kaimana Brummel about the Hawaiian Canoe Club, and we were just talking about the trip that what's the group?
Kamali'i, Hawaiian Kamali'i.
Okay. This is your educational program.
Our youth summer enrichment.
Summer enrichment, and boy, climbing
This is
up to
a
the ponds and then
3-day.
getting covered with mud and then cleaning up. Okay, so that's the second day, right?
Right.
So then
And then at night or
Yeah.
in the afternoon, they're supposed to be practicing their hula, and they do
Ah.
Hawaiian storytelling and games. And I mean, there's not a lot of playing, but there's just nice interaction. It's camping, and you'd be surprised how often kids don't get to go camping anymore. There's not a lot of places on
There's
Maui
not many here
where
left,
you
yeah.
can go camping safely, or maybe your family isn't really the camping type, or you don't have.
Or there's too many people already out on the camping site.
Exactly. So they get to do it in a safe place with their peers and with their coaches and the chaperones that are there. A lot of parents go on the excursions, so they're sharing this experience with their kids. And most of the time, the parents go because they've never done it themselves. They've never got to hike to Halawa Valley or build a fish pond or maybe even paddle across that channel.
Right.
So it's always a good experience for
I
them.
think I've done all that. I don't need to do that ever again.
No?
My idea of camping is about a 32-foot motorhome.
Oh,
Sorry about that.
Mine's a hotel room.
Oh, well, yeah, same difference. Only I take mine with me.
We used to camp when we were younger. I'm done with that.
Yeah.
And we used to go out to Halawa and yeah.
We did the backyard camping, put up the tent and
You
get
lived in the
Dad out
city.
there. No, I lived in the country. Lived on the edge of a farm
Oh,
when I was
okay.
growing up.
I was
And you think I'm a city girl, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they said you could never take the farm out of the girl or something.
I don't know.
You take the girl away from the farm, but not the whatever. Anyway, so the third night, or 3 nights, 2 nights.
yeah, I guess this trip ended up being 2 nights.
Okay.
But they wake up at dawn. They have to pack up all of their stuff, break down their tents, and then on top of their personal belongings, they have to help break down the rest of camp, which includes lots of other supplies and equipment, and we bring all of our own food as well, and so they have to learn how to pack those things up properly, and then they get all those onto the boats, or maybe they put it into the canoe and paddle it out to the safety boat and paddle back. So there's definitely a process, and then they hop in the canoe and then they have to paddle back across the Pailolo Channel.
Is that harder than going over?
Yes, because of the wind direction.
Okay.
Our outrigger or our Amazo is on the left side of the canoe. So when you're headed from Maui to Molokai, the wind is coming from you from right to left. So your Amazo is being pushed down, right, which is the way it's kind of supposed to go. Now, on your trip from Molokai
it's
to Maui, it's always coming up.
Can't you just stick a kid on there?
Oh,
Ride him, cowboy.
Maybe one of the 11-year-olds. Yeah.
Hold on, honey. Here we
Well,
go.
I know that they did flip a few times. Yes, I think one crew flipped 3 times. But they have safety canvases, and we have assist vessels that are always within a few yard or at a safe distance from the canoes, and the kids take turns, or the older ones will stay in a little bit longer. But every kid did paddle at some point. And then they paddle all the way down the coast to Hanako, where we can safely get the canoes out. And then they're still not done. They have to take all the canvas off. They have to break down the canoe. They have to load it. It's not like a big welcome party is there waiting for them. Maybe a few parents, myself, the bus, giving them some
now
water.
you don't go?
Well, I have a little one, so I can't.
That's
I
right.
haven't. And we have our big Aha Aina on Sunday, so I've been in the office selling tickets and getting silent auction items. So I let the kids have all the fun. And
It's all about the timing of events.
yes,
Yes.
timing
Yes.
of events.
Oh, gee, I can't make this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when your son hits the age he can be doing this, I'll bet you'll be right there.
I'm sure he will be in the program long before it's appropriate.
He's probably already in the program.
He's halfway in. I mean, he was there yesterday. We call the kids who grow up there harbor rats. It's kind of an endearing term. And I was definitely a harbor rat, and so is he. He loves it down there. I mean, there's so many things for him to get into. There's so many people that know his name. And, when you just grow up down there, and then it's nice for people to make those comments, oh, he's getting so big, or
Yeah.
he can do this, or let me watch him. I want to take him. You end up not really watching your kid when he's down there because there's so many aunties.
It's a great experience for kids, too, though, to be
Yeah.
brought up in that family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't it last year during the season that the paper ran a picture of the two of you?
It was during the LIL paddling season.
Oh, yeah, right.
So,
School.
luckily for us, in January, we can have an outdoor water sport. And I was down there helping Coach Seabury. And, of course, I had to bring him along because whenever I do things or volunteer for things, my husband always has to come, poor guy. So he's an honorary Seabury alum, and he does everything for Seabury that I do. So we were down there together, but it's fun. That's what paddling is. It's all about the families being down there together and having these experiences. So yeah, Matt there caught that pretty special moment of the two of us.
And there are a lot of families that paddle. We say paddle together, but in separate boats, obviously, and on
Right.
different teams. But for a lot of folks, it is a family.
Absolutely. They
thing.
bring down their own tents maybe, or they just arrive together, and the kids are in the 12 and under, or maybe the 16 and under, and mom's in the 40 masters division, and even grandma, 65, you're talking 3 generations now, and cousin maybe paddles for this club, or you have a ex-boyfriend that paddles for that club, or it's everyone in the paddling world kind of gets to know each other.
And it's a small island anyway.
Right.
You got 375 of us down in just one team.
just one tent.
So
yeah.
how many, between all the clubs, do you think how many paddlers are there on
There's
the
1,100 that are registered on Maui alone, and then there's just a little bit more on the Big Island. Oahu has 2 associations. One of them has about 1,500 registered, and the other one has just about the same. Kauai has its own, and of course Molokai has their own association as well. And they have a small membership. I think somewhere around 200 people there on Molokai, but they have 4 canoe clubs.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they get their own lane at States. So, and you never know what's going to come out of Molokai, right?
Oh
So-
yeah, they can't compete with anybody.
Right. They kind
during
of
the
just
year.
race against themselves,
other.
and they don't have a Maui News that publishes the results all the time. And so you're at States and you're thinking, okay, Outrigger's going to be good, or you got Lani Kai, or maybe Kaiola on the Big Islands, or Kaiopua on, they've been having fast times. And then all of a sudden, who's that way out there? Oh, it's a crew from Molokai. And you just never know. But they get these groups of athletes that come together, or they have a fabulous 50 women's crew that's been paddling together for years. And they're always very competitive at States. So,
Wow,
Very fun.
yeah.
that's
There's
cool.
not many sports where you can, grow up in it and continue it all the way through, with all the aches and pains we get as we get older, and you can continue. And it's such a healthy sport.
It
really
is.
is.
And to see, or to get out on the water, to see land from the ocean, you don't really think about how it's a very different perspective seeing things. I always challenge people when they're out in Lahaina, when they go out on the boats especially, to look back and how the landscape in Lahaina is changing, whether that's down by Laniapoko or Olowalu. you get a very different perspective out on the water. So
Yeah.
if you can get out there, no matter what type of vessel, preferably a canoe that you paddle yourself or a kayak, so you get the exercise. You see Maui in a different way.
Right.
So
Last week, I guess there were some turtles that were having fun out with the racers.
Oh, yeah.
As they were turning one at one of the lanes or one of the.
and a month before that, we had a monk seal.
Oh, wow.
So the sea life is coming back to Kahului Harbor. It's not the dump that it used to be, So I always say I'm immune to all of the diseases there because I grew up. Like, I've never gotten staph. I've grown up at Kahului Harbor. I've never gotten staph.
I got staph in the Alawai paddling
Oh,
a couple
Yeah.
times.
yeah.
Yeah, the Alawai's not cleaned up yet.
No.
No.
But those turtles, too, they're free of their tumors now.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
All the ones that I've been seeing recently. So
That's great.
It's a good mark for us that our sea life is staying healthy.
Terrific. Well, just like that, our time is up with you. Is there
Oh.
anything you wanted to we kind of led you
Why don't
down
you-
our own path
That's
here today.
okay. My last
Give us one more, the phone number they can reach to get tickets or website.
Right, HawaiianCanoeClub.org. Our phone number is 808-893-2124. The Aha Aina Dinner and Culture Show is this Sunday at the Dunes at Maui at 5 p.m. Tickets are only $40 for a buffet dinner, a show by Grammy Award winner George Kahumoku, and our fabulous kids dancing hula.
Terrific.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
you so
Kaimana.
much.
This is
Thanks.
fabulous.
Yeah,
Have a wonderful trip.
thank you. I will.
Every race is a wonderful trip.
That's true. When
Right?
you're with Hawaiian Canoe Club. Right.
Yes, or I think with any canoe club. I mean, I know people who are in several different clubs, and it's just like, there's nothing else that can happen on Saturday or Sunday if there's paddling or a regatta going on, and of course as they get closer to the States, it's a big thing.
More pressure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so that's terrific. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you, guys.
joining us. And now we're going to switch gears here a little bit, and we're going to talk to Lucy Feinberg from from PACT, Parents and Children Together. How are you today, Lucy?
Really good. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting listening to all that, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Especially, I've been a member of Kihei Canoe Club for many years.
Really?
So I was
Wow.
reflecting on that as well.
Ah, so the thing that had always kind of confused me was they had in the paper they have 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, right? And then you see this freshman, sophomore, and I go, wait a minute, that's what the 14 and 15 are. And so now she clarified it, and I love that. Now I know what's going on. So,
We're glad, Susie.
yeah, I hate to be in the dark,
Well, I'd like more information about PAC.
I would too. So tell us what's happening.
Good. Well, I can tell you quite a few things in the time that we're together. Parents and Children Together has been on Maui since 1994. We've been in the state of Hawaii since 1968. And we were actually invited to Maui by the judiciary to work with them with people who have had problems with violence. So originally we started working with the people who were offenders, actually people with the actual problems of power and control. And then about 5 years ago, we started working with women and as well as men who have been victims of domestic violence. And we also work with teens. So that's one of our programs, and we can get back to getting more information, give you more detail about that. The program for people who've had issues with power and control is called Kuleana. For the teens, it's Na'opio, and the women, it's Pu'uhonua. So that's one of our big programs, and we really thank the judiciary as well as the County of Maui for their financial support and donations. We can get monies as well from private foundations. Without that, we have such a large program, and on Maui it is a fee-for-service program. I won't go into too much detail, but it's different than in the rest of the state. So that's one of our 4 programs. Another one of our programs is called MST, and what we do there is we work with the youth who is in danger of being removed from their home, either for reasons having to do with legal problems, with school. They may be having school problems. They may not be doing well in school. They may be looking at residential treatment if they don't get that therapeutic help. all of those reasons. And we have a unique program, and it is evidence-based. It's an internationally known program. And we don't just work with the youth or with the family and the youth, but we work with the entire community. So it's that whole ecology, the whole ecological approach to recognize that in order to support that family, it takes the whole community, including the schools, the judiciary, wherever support, neighbors. We strengthen the family in that way so that that child can be healthy and reach their potential.
And the MST, what does that stand for? Is that
It stands for multi-systemic, and that's the system idea. It's a fancy, but it's MST, multi-systemic therapy, and the real important part is it's the whole system.
So now how do you become aware of the need?
The way that we find out is all of these youth need to be referred from the Maui Family Guidance Center. So that means that the schools can identify, a parent could call themselves and go through the channels to the Maui Family Guidance Center and then determine if that's the program they need. Our staff they work very intensively with the family. They have only 5 families at a time, and they can work with them up to 5 months. And they can do 24/7. So it's not just come see me in my office, but what do you need? What can I do to help you?
Yeah, it's probably why they can only handle a few at a time, is because it is so intensive, I guess, huh?
That's right.
It's wonderful, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's what you need.
Right, right. The intensive, short period,
Intervention.
and then they're not on their own. I mean, I'm sure there's follow-up.
Well, if there's a need to, but the idea with MST is that we have covered every possible thing that can happen. We've developed pro-social activities for them, so they're in the youth groups, in the canoe clubs, whatever they can do to work with other young people and get support.
So you don't need to stay and support them because you've created the support
Right.
for them. That's wonderful. What
That's
a great
right.
idea.
That's right.
Yeah.
It works. We know it works. So we're very happy with that. That program we've had for about 12 years on Maui. A third program is, we also have that program on Molokai as well. Our third program is the Lanai Integrated Support Systems. That's a program just on Lanai, and it serves the whole range, for everything from information and referral. Anybody can walk in and get that type of information, all the way to providing supervised visits for child welfare services when children have been in danger and removed from the home. So then we do the visits and we try to help to reintegrate them. We work hard to prevent child abuse. If we get the report from child welfare intake, we go out, we work with the family so that we can, if there has been abuse, we can stop it, teach them new methods so that they would not continue to harm their children. Our fourth program is Ulupono, which means to thrive, by the way. It is the Family Strengthening Service, and we have that program on Maui and also on Oahu, but Oahu staff take care of it there. We get referrals through the child welfare intake, again, similarly, and we work hard, again, to prevent. If there is some incidents where there was abuse, but the state says it doesn't meet the criteria to go to the state workers, that's when they come. That's when they come into our.
Now, what kind of abuse would not meet that criteria? Or maybe it's looking like abuse, or it's going to be abuse?
What it is that someone has called, and we really recommend that people do call if they are at all concerned. And let me give you the number of the state child welfare intake, and that's 1-800-494-3991. So child welfare intake gets calls about, say, a baby crying, and they are concerned, or they see something and they're concerned, or someone from the school may suspect. So they get the call, and but somehow it just they have a way to review these calls, and if it doesn't meet their criteria, then they refer to us. And then we have a protocol where we go out. We do home visits again. It is not 24/7, but we work with the parents, develop their parenting skills, which is often the issue. They just don't know what to do. They fall back on old techniques of discipline, which everyone is familiar with, physical discipline. We are moving away from that. We recognize the harm even in spanking, for example. So we teach new methods that we believe are more effective, and that's what Ulupono does. We had a recent tragedy of a 4-year-old dying, Zion McEwen, and that was in May, and that the father and the live-in partner have been indicted for murder, and that's the kind of thing that should never exist. So we believe if we can get in early when the problems are not so severe, that child will have a much better outcome.
Okay. If you hold on for just a second, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Aloha from Pacific Source, and thank you for your support over the years. Pacific Source has offered more of what builders and homeowners value most in building materials and cabinet design. We've done this by offering superior customer service and products, as well as by designing kitchens and baths that are intelligent and elegant while staying true to your vision and budget. Visit our showroom in Waikapu in Central Maui, where we display a variety of cabinets as well as top-name appliances like Sub-Zero, Wolf, Viking, KitchenAid, and more. We display countertops, tile and wood flooring, and several brands of windows and doors, including Fleetwood multi-slides and La Cantina folding doors. Come in and talk to our designers about making your dreams become a reality. From concept to completion, we really believe our attention to detail and superior service are what sets us apart. Let us show you what we mean. We are a Pacific Source at 515 East Oahe Way in the Consolidated Base Yard in Waikapu, just off Waiko Road. Call us at 986-0380. That's 986-0380, or look us up online at packsource.com.
And we are back. This is Maui Nonprofit Notes, the weekly talk story session with the executive directors of our nonprofit agencies and how they're helping our communities. And today we're talking with Lucy. Hello. Lucy Feinberg of PACT, Parents and Children Together. She's telling us about some of the programs that they have to help families who have problems, kids with problems, and adults with problems. And you were just telling us about the incident about a month and a half ago about the 4-year-old. So go ahead.
Well, the only thing I would say is that one of our major missions is to prevent child abuse and neglect. And what we do need for that is for the community to get involved. We call our friends and neighbors auntie, and if we could really develop that feeling that we're all involved. There is such a thing called mandated reporters, and that's people who are in the field, medical field, health, education. I think that covers it. They're by law must report. But what we really need for children is the community to come together, to call in, not to be afraid, to recognize that it is an anonymous call, and you never know that you could prevent a child's death or serious harm.
Yeah, because so many times you think, maybe something's going on, but I don't want to start something. I don't want to, and that's the problem. And that's when a child, ends up in the situation as Zion did, is because so many people say, maybe I don't want to get involved. And that's just not the right thing to do. We need to get involved.
I think maybe there's also another lesson learned from his death, and that was that while they were in and out of the system, and I think once somebody's in the system, if you will, of either the state or one of these nonprofits that works with folks like that, neighbors and friends tend to back off and say it's being handled, and they don't recognize when it happens again or something else continues, maybe, that the state or this nonprofit doesn't know this, and that they do need to keep reporting. I heard from so many people after that. Women Helping Women is right across the hall from us in our offices, and they were talking about when they had the march that Friday night, some of the stories that some of the relatives were telling about how they thought this and didn't do that, and it's all this I wish I had. We need to get to the point where we don't wish we had, we know we did.
That's where the phone number comes in. And that is also true with domestic violence as well, other forms of domestic violence. Child abuse is one form, and intimate partner violence is another. And people also don't realize that they can help in that. They think, they'll let the professionals handle it. But again, the friends and the family, don't be afraid to ask. If you have any concerns about a friend, if you see any signs, if you see behavior changes, this is something to be aware of. With our Family Peace Center, we do one of our major activities is to assist with restraining orders, temporary restraining orders. And in that way, a victim, survivor can get legal help to get to have at least some time away from the person, protected, and then they go to court, and the judge determines if there is a need for how many years of a restraining order, and also for intervention. So we know that people can call. They can call us if they have any concerns. And how about if I give the phone number?
Please.
244-2330. And sometimes people just want to call and chat about what's going on, just talk story. They don't realize even if they are having problems with abuse, but they feel like something is wrong in the relationship. And we encourage people to call us, and also people who are having issues with violence, with power and control, anywhere on the spectrum, so that they don't have to wait to be referred to our program, but they can actually just call and come in, and we do a complete assessment, and we will talk to them about our recommendations.
And you guys have so many wonderful programs, so if they want to go to your website to see if you are the agency to help them, what's your website?
Very good. It's PACTHawaii, all one word, .org.
And on the website it shows all the different programs?
Yes, it does.
That's
Yes, it
great.
does.
That's great.
Yeah, it's a great website. I went on it yesterday to do some studying on it, and while it's all totally Hawaii, I mean, it's got a section for Maui and what some of the programs are, and I got to tell you, there's some things that you do that I wasn't aware of.
Yes,
That's why websites are so fabulous for organizations today.
That's right. That's right.
Now, if somebody's out there and maybe they have in the back of their mind that a neighbor or a child, what are some of the signs that people should look for? Do you?
Okay.
If a child is being abused, or if possibly a woman is being abused.
I do have some information about that. The signs are that there is often changes in behavior, and in other words, she may show anxiety when she's around her partner. Her partner may not want her to be with her friends, so she's being restricted from being with her friends.
Isolated, yeah.
She often finds herself making excuses or minimizing her partner's behavior. So
Because it's not always you see the black eye.
completely true.
And that one's an easy one. Who gave you the black eye? Let's deal with that.
And
But
I remember somebody one time that was in a situation like this, and we weren't aware of it, but it was like, oh, it's no big deal. They say, does he talk to you like that all the time? Oh, yeah, but he doesn't mean it.
minimizing.
Minimizing.
Things like that. And it's just, and so we say, oh, well, she's got it under control. She doesn't.
That's really true. And one of the biggest problems with domestic violence is the degree of shame that people feel. And that is very creates a lot of disability, unable to make changes because the person feels it is their fault.
Right.
And that's why they often make the excuses, because it was always a secret. It was always, of course, in the family. You never talked about anything like that. And we still have many cultures who have that belief that you can't, it's shame, and you can't go and tell anyone. How can you get help? The parents even may support the offender, the batterer in that case.
Well, you hear these stories of, oh, it would never be me. I would never be in that situation. And,
Yeah.
and so when you talk about shame, it's like, I'm not going to admit that I was, that I'm
yeah.
I'm letting someone do this to me.
Right.
I can imagine the shame.
The other thing that concerns me about situations like that is the children. The kids, you say, oh, they don't know anything's going on. Hello, they
They're
do.
learning the behavior.
And they're learning the behavior. And so if you've got 4 kids, what have you done to 4 potential other couples down the road?
Well, if that's the only relationship you've ever seen, which is an abusive, whether it's verbally or physically abusive, then that's what you know. That's the only thing you know. So
Right.
what are you going to perpetuate? It's what you know.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's scary.
And it is scary, and that's why many women, and we primarily see abuse among women, but its statistics vary from 75% female, 25% male. It's not really clear. Men also do not often want to report, but we do see quite a few men in our coming to us for restraining orders. People don't think about the other kinds of restraining orders, which are against an adult child, also. That's some of the biggest ones, and or brother and sister. So any kind of family relationship, there is protection available. In terms of the children exposure, that's a very, very serious problem because it is the next generation. It is part of the cycle, and often our research shows that that's when women will get help, when they see effects in the child, and they just. That's it. That breaks through the shame and breaks through the.
Yeah, you can hurt me,
self-blame.
but don't hurt my kids. Yeah.
Or
That's
when
right.
they see the kids doing something in a relationship with a friend or something, and they go, "What made you do that? What made you say that? Or what made you, and it doesn't.
Daddy does it.
Yeah, they forget that. Hello, that's what they're exposed to all the time.
Yeah, it's very worrisome.
And that again is the idea that they're ashamed of it, and they want to hide the fact that it's happening, and so they try to ignore that, and it just allows the kid to continue.
That's right. We also see a belief system that supports domestic violence. We have still the patriarchy, which is the concept that males have had more legal rights than females, as well as other kinds of rights. So we're still in that. We still know women don't get the exact same rate of pay for the same work, for example. And so there was a belief that the man in the castle, and all of those slogans. So we're coming out of centuries of that belief system, and we're moving to help the men and women who have had problems with violence, to help them to understand that we don't hold those beliefs. That the belief is that they need to take account, that they need to be accountable, they need to take responsibility, and part of the dynamics is pushing responsibility on anybody else, not on themselves. So we work on changing beliefs. That's a big
Interesting.
part of what we do.
I imagine, with everything going on with our economy and because again, that stereotype that we have of men, or that they have of themselves, they're the king of the castles. When something happens where they aren't able to provide, they lost their job, they're losing their home, and that causes, because of this belief system that we supposedly have, that they are the providers when they can't provide, they have that. That's what makes them angry and want to sometimes strike out. Creates this situation where, they want to abuse.
Well, and thinking about the kids, we're talking about the kids acting out and doing some of the things they see happening at home. Usually when we say that, we're thinking about the boys doing the same thing Dad did, but we also have the situation where the girls take on the same kind of lifestyle as the mom, where they enter into relationships where they have exactly the same situation Mom and Dad had, because that's the kind of man or boy they're used to seeing or being related to. And so it perpetuates on both sides.
Role modeling is a significant feature, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So that's why in 2013, which we're in the fiscal year 2012 now, that we've got to stop it where we see it, and to help. If you know 5 women or 10 women, it's very likely that one of them was abused or possibly being abused right now.
Really? The statistics
It's
are that high?
25% of women have had issues of domestic violence in their lives. Research says it is the major public health problem today, and it causes tremendous problems for the woman in the workplace. Violence in the workplace is a big issue. Her job may be in danger because of domestic violence. Matter of fact, the state just created a new law to address discrimination against women who've been battered and to protect their jobs. And that partially came from the work of the Maui Domestic Violence Task Force
Really?
and the Hawaii State Coalition Against Domestic Violence, bringing up the issues. And now we have a law that protects women. They can't be fired, for example, if they have to go to court for their restraining order hearing.
Well, that's good.
Wow.
I would
Yeah.
think that would be a no-brainer. We don't need a law for that, but I guess we do, too.
Some places,
Oh,
I
that's
guess.
unfortunate.
I had an employee one time who was working with me, and it was a weekly newspaper, so we had her name was going to go into the masthead, where she was doing production work, graphic arts. And so it was going to say graphic arts by so-and-so. And she said, could you please use this name instead of mine? And I said, well, who's this? And she says, that's my pseudonym. And I said, really? And she says, well, yeah, it's a long story. And over the course of her working for me, she told the story of a boyfriend that she'd been with and had lived with for like 8 years. And she ran away. And she ran away to the mainland for like 4 years. But she wanted to come home. And the only way she could come home was to come home, not go anywhere near her family.
Oh, that's terrible.
Okay? So, and if she wanted to visit with them, it had to be like out someplace. And so she was using this other name, and she said, until he finds out about that. And he did. As a matter of fact, before she left my employee, he came in a couple of times
Oh, yeah.
looking for her. And I said, what's the name?
They don't give up, do they?
Yeah.
It takes
they can go to jail, they
serious intervention. Some can change their behavior. We believe that most of the people that come to us with issues of violence can change their behavior, and that's very important. Many of them come in wanting to change. They know their lives have not been what they wanted either. They grew up often in this and they wanted to stop, but they never had the skills. And we believe we have a curriculum-based program, and we believe through that curriculum that they can have a chance to look over their lives and make the changes.
Well,
Well,
let's
that's
talk about, again, how to get in touch with you and find out more about these programs.
Sure, 244-2330, and that's PACT. And we're located right up the street on 81 North Market, right behind the Public Defender's Office.
Oh, it's a good place.
Or take a look at their website, pacthawaii.org.
And what was that 1-800 number?
The 1-800 number for child welfare intake is 1-800-494-3991.
Well, thank you so much for everything you're doing for our community. We really appreciate
That's
it.
awesome,
It's
Lucy.
a great organization. And we thank Kaimana, even though she's already gone, for joining us today. This show is sponsored as a community service by Pacific Source, a wonderful company out in Waikapu. If you're building or remodeling your home, please stop by their showroom in Waikapu Base Yard. Wonderful showroom, beautiful. Maui Nonprofit Directors Association's mission is to provide personal and professional support to nonprofit executive directors, their organizations, and the community of Maui.
And we encourage everyone to get involved by giving, advocating, or volunteering for your favorite nonprofit. Please visit our website at www.mauinonprofit.org for a list of our member agencies, and we encourage you to check them out today and get involved. Mahalo for tuning in, and don't forget to join us again next week, right here on KAOI Radio, 1110 AM, 96.7 FM, when we'll be featuring representatives of 2 more member agencies of Maui Nonprofit Directors Association. Until then, I'm Susie Tiemann, and
Sherry Dotson.
we wish you a great week. Aloha.
Aloha.